Good morning, workshop folks. Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. Coming at you from Illinois. I've been on the road. Let's see, I left Tennessee, Camden, Tennessee at 4 o'clock this morning because anytime I have a long trip, that's how it goes. I go to bed, I get up, never sleep like I want to. So I've been on the road for almost 3 hours now, so you can keep me company for the next half hour or so. I would appreciate that. So I left Camden in the dead of night, drove. So I've been through Tennessee, Kentucky, and now I'm into Illinois, which was a surprise. But it took me about an hour to get back onto the interstate. Once you're on the interstate, as you guys know, you make excellent time. Don't know about you guys, but when I start early in the morning, obviously I'm tired. And when it's dark, I always seem like I'm tired. 326 miles to Chicago right now. But as soon as that sun comes up, boom, there's a pep in my step and I'm wide awake and good to go. So my plan for this evening, as long as the drive goes uneventfully, is to stop in Omaha, Nebraska. The missus has been at me to find a TJ Maxx home goods store. So we're going to go there and check that out. But I'm sure you guys have tuned in to find out what's going on and how things have been the last few days. First off, just as I was leaving this morning, sold the last 2 silver rounds. So the first run of the workshop silver rounds, the 1 ounce and the 1.5 ounces for 75 U.S. shipped, is officially sold out. So if you're interested in getting on the waiting list for the next time we do it, email me at therealtimcook@gmail.com and let me know. I am blown away by how fast they sold. It was great. So thank you guys for the support. It was fun. I held back 5 for me to keep for my own collection and sold the rest. So what have I been up to since basically 8 days ago when I did this last recording for you guys? Last time we talked, I was on my way between North Carolina and Tennessee on a very tight schedule to make it to, I was heading west of Nashville, somewhere there, and I made it. I got about 6 hours sleep and made it to tactical response that morning with lots of time to spare. But I was beat, absolutely tired. Now we'll talk a little bit about tactical response. I'm going to do Kayla from one of the co-owners of Tactical Response is going to come on the show in the future. So I don't want to get too much into it, but the entire time I was at Self-Reliance Festival, I was asked on multiple occasions, what did you think of Tactical Response? And here's what I will tell you. It changed my life just a little bit. And I'm not even sure I can put it into words yet. And I think I need to think about it some more, but I'll do my best. So when you go for firearms training anywhere, you go and expect to learn how to shoot. Well, within the first hour that I was at Tactical Response, I realized I was in for something completely different. Because like they said, if you can shoot a fist-sized group from 7 yards away, you're golden. That's all you needed at Tactical Response. So they don't teach you how to shoot. You don't need to be a shooter to get there. You'll pick it up as you go. They teach you how to fight. They teach you how to win a gunfight, and they teach you how to survive a gunfight. And they teach you how to avoid one as well. It was absolutely insane. It changed my mindset. James, the founder who has since passed away, his mindset and what he tried to instill in everyone through the videos I've seen and the conversations I've heard was the warrior mindset. And how, either, and this might sound crazy, but either, win a fight or die trying is basically what, his thing was. And it changed you just a little bit to hear people talk about this stuff so wide open. It was great. I loved it. I'm going to leave it at that. I will do a follow-up on Tactical Response. Like I said, I'll have Kayla on, we'll have a talk, and then I will share a lot more about my training. But it was fun. That's all I can say. I had a blast. I'm glad I did it. I was considering canceling just simply because I didn't have enough time. I felt like I didn't have enough time to get there and do it justice, but I did. If you're ever wondering, do it. Don't let the fact that you're tired or wore out or have traveled 3,000 kilometers tear you down and get you thinking, no, I probably shouldn't, because you should. We only have so many days for any trip we take, so make it the best you can. Now, on to Self-Reliance Festival. It was incredible. It's just like getting together with old family and friends. It was quick, 2 days, basically. Now, I showed up Thursday night after TAC response training, just for a half an hour. Met up with Nicole, finally met Jack in person. It was great. Shake his hand, thank him for some stuff, and had a good conversation. But there really wasn't much going on. They were just setting up, and they had everything under control. So Brian and Corey Alexovich, if you guys obviously know them, from the Lots Project, they had a, can't remember what you call it, the type of Airbnb for campgrounds. Anyway, they had a hip campsite they had booked. So and we'd never met in person in real life either. So I went out there for the evening, hung out with them for about an hour. And by that time, I was beat. So Friday was a fun day actually. I used it as a down day. So Friday was just the swale class at SRF. So there was only maybe about 70 people there, and they were still setting up. So there, you could go and chat for a bit. I went and hung out for a little while, but there wasn't a whole lot going on, and that was okay because I knew there wouldn't be. But I'd been there about a half an hour, and Mama Sauce, that's Nicole's mom, come over and she says, "Hey Tim, I got a really big ask for you." And I had to make sure that that I heard her correctly. She'd said they ended up leaving half of their audio video equipment at this house that they rented it from. It was about a 45-minute drive each way, and she wondered if I could do it. Sure, why not? I wasn't doing anything per se. Why not hop in the truck? So I got to go see some of the backwoods, Tennessee, which was a lot of fun. About 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, and got a couple of pounds of hollow roast dark for my trouble. So that was a really good barter. I enjoyed that immensely. So at this point, I was ready for my presentation. I'm not even sure what my favorite part of SRF was. You know, getting to sit around and chat with John Willis there about 7:30 in the morning yesterday. Caught him while I was collecting eggs, and he just stopped and we chatted. That was great. Having multiple conversations with Jack, that was great. Getting to see Nicole again, that was great. At the end, she's like, we really need to make time to talk because anytime these events are here, we're all of us are running around like idiots and nobody ever gets time to talk. So yeah, it's funny, but it was great to see so many old friends. There were, I bet you half of the people that were at Living Free in Tennessee Spring Workshop were at Self-Reliance Festival. John has himself a really good compound built there. I picked up a new man purse, as my wife would call it, or as I call it, an over-the-shoulder tactical carrying bag with prime real estate on the back to put my Toolman Tim patch on there. So that was great. John's stuff is just top quality. It's incredible. So so if you've never been to Self-Reliance Festival, what does it entail? Well, it's very much a speaker event. So it kind of starts at 9:00, 9:30 in the morning and runs till the first day till about supper time. And you have 45-minute slots, which I think is a perfect time for speakers. So basically the idea was 30 minutes of talk, 15 minutes of question and answer from the audience. John Bush was there doing he was overseeing a lot of the online recording and that sort of thing. So it was really cool. They had Zoom, people who were on Zoom and were able to ask questions live during the conversations, which was awesome. They we bought tickets for the giveaways from all the different vendors and stuff for the Dark Horse Lodge. If you don't know who they are, look them up. They're doing great things for veterans with PTSD and that sort of thing, but they raised over $3,000 for that. So Saturday morning was a good day. Again, if you've never been to one of these events, it's worth going. So John gets a great big, what looks like circus tent set up in his parking pad, and then they just fit in cars all over. So the parking on property was for people with the VIP tickets. And then next door at the gas station was overflow parking for $5 for the day, which I thought was a great deal because the gas station is a 3-minute walk. So it makes it easy on people. But they had presenters going all day. Jack did one on aquaponics. There was just a ton of awesome speakers. Now, here's the thing. If you go to an event and you see me there, there's a good chance I won't be sitting listening to the speakers. I end up walking and talking. That's what I do at all these events, and that's what I love. Walking around, introducing myself, chatting with people, asking what they've been up to, and listening to their stories. I booked another 5 or 6 interviews with highly interesting people from Self-Reliance Festival. There was a great band that played that evening, which I enjoyed. Nicole sang with them for a few songs, so that was really cool. They had a really nice VIP dinner that evening where people with the VIP tickets plus all the speakers sat down and ate and had a good time. Everybody, it was like a bring your own liquor thing. So there was one gentleman that made an Italian liqueur that was made out of cloves and cinnamon and a few other things. And I told him it tasted like Christmas in a bottle. It's one of the best things I've drank in a long time. And then one of our lawyer friends brought a 30-year-old bottle of rum that was the closest I've ever tasted to butterscotch. It was incredible. Just had a great time. They had meatloaf and chicken skins and green beans and these little lemon squares. It was just it was an awesome meal. I loved it. So if you're ever thinking about going, it's worth thinking about for sure. Now, I was absolutely humbled by all of my experiences at Self-Reliance Festival. The first thing, which was a huge, huge honor, and I felt like I didn't have any place to be there, but I think I held my own in the end, so that was great. I got to do a roundtable discussion about preparedness with John Willis, Billy Bond, and Jack Spirko. And I was the 4th guy up there, and that was pretty friggin' cool. So basically what we did was it was a 45-minute discussion where we took questions from the audience and just answered them and helped people the best we could. It was awesome. I met David, Jack's friend, the one that everybody says, or Jack always talks about as his friend. What a great guy. I enjoyed we had many long and deep conversations, which just make me smile. I appreciate people who can chat with you and give you tips and positive criticism and really help you see how far you've came, but things that you can improve. But that, yeah, that roundtable discussion, guys, was incredible. I was so blessed to be part of it. So yeah, throughout the day, they have a lunch break in the middle. Andy Higginbotham, if you know Andy, was serving the meals, so they had food there. Tons of cool vendors. Shit Hit the Fan Fitness was there. I can't remember his first name right now, but if you're looking to get fit, sign up with him. I signed up with him. So his plan is $99 a month, and you do the workouts at home with a kettlebell. His whole idea is to keep you mobile and flexible as you get older. He sends you download his app. He sends you 3 customized workouts every single week with accountability and steps that you take on the app to let him know that you've been doing it. Because with a personal trainer like that, or if somebody that's helping you, that is the idea, is to have accountability more than anything else. So I'm excited about that because, I've been able to do the weight loss thing, but I've never, I always joke and say, well, I'm busy and I'm always working, but that's different than being fit. So I was pretty excited to do that. He got me to do a bunch of exercises. Yeah, I was sore when I was done. Now, Saturday morning, also another incredible day. Sorry, Sunday morning, that was yesterday. Brain's still a little foggy, guys. Interstate driving will do that to you at 4 in the morning. So I got to do my turning content into currency. Now, here's the thing. I need to get myself a stopwatch. I'm really good as long as I have a clock in front of me to make sure that I finish on time. Every time I had done a dry run of my presentation, it had come out at about 32 minutes. And I had about 10 minutes left of my presentation, and I look at Nicole and she flashed me the 7 minutes left sign. I was like, oh crap. So I did about 40, 41 minutes of presentation, and I managed to knock out 2 questions. But here's the thing, guys. I don't know how to say this. I don't want it to sound bragging or anything, because it wasn't. It's not. But I was blown. I still get chills thinking about this, guys. But after my presentation, for 3 hours, people come up to me and asked me questions and told me their goals and their dreams and the things that they had started because they had heard from me or watched my content or listened to a segment of mine on the Expert Council. Whether it was, a guy who did a t-shirt business, or guys that are doing podcasts, or a lady that's doing a homesteading podcast. There was no end. And I would say it was almost 50-50 men and women, which was awesome, because I just assumed that my audience, and even according to the metrics, my audience skews 95% male, or a little less at this point, but it was just awesome. And I met so many veterans who had, who have struggles in life and have found ways to overcome it. I met ultra marathon runners, just incredible. I did another consultation with somebody for content creation building, which was great. So that's an actual paying gig, guys. I love it. But 3 hours, to the point where, and if you're out there listening, Porterhouse, you are my guardian angel. He was walking by. We had so many good conversations. A buddy of mine, I didn't even know him before I got there, and we had so many good conversations. He's from California. And this is hard to understand or hard to believe, but I was, 2 hours into 3 hours straight conversations with people. And of course, you're not just going to walk away, because there's always somebody waiting to talk to you, and they just wait patiently. And I give everybody as much time as I can, because that's why I'm there. And I grabbed him and I said, dude, can you get me a water? Man, he'd come back in about a minute, and it saved me, because I was losing my voice. I was getting dry, and I wanted to make sure that I could give everybody what I wanted to give them and what they wanted. And he just saved me. So, Porterhouse, if you're listening by chance, thank you, brother. You do not know how much that single bottle of water meant, because I needed it in the worst way. But throughout the entire time, what blew me away was people coming up and saying, Tim, I have been doing handyman work. Talked to a guy who had only been he was just in his second or third handyman job. He already had his pricing down. He was doing good. And you could just see his eyes light up when he talked about it. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing, Tim, and I'm making extra money, and I'm making $100 an hour. And he told me he used to work construction for $10 an hour, and he can make as much in 1 hour doing handyman work as he used to be able to do in an entire day. And I talked to another guy that is basically has moved into an area and had his own mutual assistance group. And he has an elderly lady down the road that he does odd jobs for her, and she cans and preserves food and vegetables and that sort of stuff for him. And he's really worked his way into this small country community, which can be really, really hard. And then I talked to another guy who's semi-retired from the insurance business, and he has gradually put together his own mutual assistance group with a great kind of barn dominium type thing. And I won't go into more than that, but it was so encouraging. And there was multiple husbands and wives, I would say 3 or 4, that come up to me and said, hey, we have started our podcast. how do we do X, Y, and Z? And I attempted to help people the best I could with that. That was awesome. You know, people who come up, Porterhouse come up. So he first found me through my freezer alarm video. And he told me that, you know, has saved his bacon, literally. Pardon the pun. But yeah, it was incredible. Just the fact that he found me through some stupid little $30 tool review and hit it off from there. But tons of people starting handyman businesses, tons of people starting content creation, which gets me so excited. And just the fact that everybody under the sun just came to chat and say, Tim, thank you for what you've done. That it doesn't seem right. I remember Jack saying he remembers the first time somebody did that, and yeah, I don't know. It was incredible. Got reached out from a podcast that I'm going to end up going on. That'll be a surprise when it happens, but that's going to be great. Oh, how did my presentation go? I felt like I knocked it out of the park. I had to cut a couple of points out of my presentation because I was running behind, or you know, you just get serious and get going. Dr. Ken Berry was there. I didn't listen to his presentation, but I did get over and shake his hand afterwards. Just, you know, not that he would know why, but I just said thank you and shook his hand because his teaching is what helped me lose all that weight. Yes, I put a bit back on, but I'm still way lower than I was 2.5 years ago. So because of Dr. Berry, nothing wrong with that at all. And I got to give a special shout out to my buddy Jersey. You know who you are. He's an Italian dude that owns a pizza joint in New Jersey. Can you imagine? We had an awesome dinner last night. I was exhausted. I just didn't want to talk anymore. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when you give everything you have to chat with everybody you can for every minute possible because they deserve it, because they're paying to be there, by the time you're done the end of the day, you just don't want to talk. So we ended up taking Monday and Tuesday tactical response together, and then he was at Self-Reliance Festival all weekend. And we had a great meal at the Country Western Buffet in Camden last night. We had a marinated ribeye steak done perfectly, rare on the side of medium rare, just the way I like it. And he introduced me to old fashions, had a couple of those, and they are a dangerous drink, my friends. If you've never had one, try one because they are good. But you know what was cool is he just let me sit there, and I asked him a few questions about his life, and he just told me stories. And it helped so much for me just to relax, have a couple of drinks, eat a steak, and chill, because I had basically been living out of the hotel and eating Sonic for the most part. Not Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic the food, and it's really good. But it was worth it. I was blown away by the silver. I know I talked about that a little bit, but if you haven't checked him out yet, check out Curio Bullion on Instagram. I think Brian and I are going to do a second run because these sold out already. The work he put in them was great. The fact that he bought a hydraulic press guy with my logo on it so that we can do new coins each time. Brian's were super cool. Brian's are all rounded around the edges and rough, and they look like something you'd find at the bottom of the ocean. And everybody said mine looked like pirate coins as well, and I loved them. And I got to tell you, Ryan went above and beyond. He took video for me. He took pictures, which I'll put everything together when it comes to that. He even gave individual certificates of authenticity for every single coin he sold. So when you buy an ounce and a half ounce set from me, you get 2 certificates of authenticity for that. I thought that was pretty cool. Professional, the work is awesome. We're going to do something a little different. Mine were just dated on the back. Brian's had his numbered. But yeah, that part was really cool. Picked up 4 new Patch of the Month members. That to me is worth more than anything else. Just getting that constant reoccurring income is beautiful. Thank you guys. Can't wait when I get home. Patch number 2 is waiting. It was delivered, so it will be shipped. So as soon as it gets shipped, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one. If you've seen my intro video, I did spoil the first two patches. If you haven't seen it or didn't pay attention, don't go back and watch, but you'll enjoy it. And I've got a bunch new patches on the way. Another highlight, of course, was after I was done speaking, Jack come over, shook my hand, and said he was proud of me. Now, I got to tell you, when your mentor, even though they don't know you're their mentor, and we never chatted like I was his mentor, like he was my mentor, sorry, he come over and shook my hand and said, I heard a lot of what I teach and what you spoke, Tim, and he said, I'm proud of you. Well, I got to tell you, that's worth its weight in silver. Few lessons I learned. Just because I talk about crypto doesn't mean I use crypto. So I need to get even more comfortable with Lightning and Bitcoin, because there were multiple people whose first choice would have been crypto, but a lesson learned, yeah, I wasn't set up for it for sure. Also, I hate sitting at booths. That's not my shtick, but Becky said she's going to come along next time and sit so that there's somebody there to take care of my swag if somebody wants to buy some, because I can't be anchored to a chair. I got to be up moving around and talking to people. Always what I enjoy at those places. One quick lesson: don't switch to a new phone right before you go on a trip. It's stupid. No matter how much you think you're going to remember everything, you forget stuff. But I'm going to do, when I get home and I have a day or so to decompress, I'm going to do an episode on the lessons I learned on an 18-day road trip. And I've been pleasantly surprised with how prepared I was. Now, that doesn't mean that I couldn't run into some trouble at this point, but it was really good. But if you guys are thinking about coming to the Self-Reliance Festival, do it. It's worth it. It's a short, this time the tickets were $75. That's nothing. I mean, you can spend $75 for one person at a decent restaurant at this point. But yes, if you're thinking about it, try to do it. I don't know the exact months, but I know there's one in the winter, and then I believe June or July. Neither of those will work for me, but the October one works beautifully. So I'll definitely be back for that one next year. We already have our flights booked for Nicole's in April, and I'm going to be driving to Dallas next month. Yep, it's crazy, I know. I'm going to be driving to Dallas to speak at Jack's workshop and meet up with everyone again. It's nice to see Sean Mills and Brian Young, Andy Higginbotham, again, since I'd seen them before, but also it was great to see some friends for the first time, like Brian and Corey. And who else did I meet for the first time? It will come. Well, I met Jack for the first time, met Billy Bond for the first time, met John Willis for the first time. And every one of those guys is exactly the way you might think they would be. And I need to say a special thank you if you're listening to Joel Riles and his wife. They have Fortress Canine, because if you guys have ever heard Nicole talk about when you're at these big events, sometimes you just need 5 minutes to sneak off or sit down or hang out. Well, they were my buddies at Prepper Camp and at Self-Reliance Festival, and they let me park my folding camping chair under their awning at their RV and just sit down and shut the hell up and just chill with them whenever I needed to, and it meant the world. So thank you guys. Can't wait to see you again. But you know what? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The sun has finally come up. Thanks for driving with me while the sun came up this morning, guys. It was a well-needed distraction. I'm in Illinois. I'm 300 and some miles from Chicago. I got a half a pack of cigarettes, and I'm wearing sunglasses. Oh, wait, no, that I channeled my inner Blues Brothers there for a minute. But I am on my way to Omaha. Going to pick up I believe the 3,500 watt inverter generator from Harbor Freight. And another good buddy of mine, and you know who you are, sent me a 25% off, no exclusions Harbor Freight coupon. there is nothing on it that says anything about generators. So, which is rare with Harbor Freight. I am excited to use it. That'll save me $250 on a generator. But that's it for now, guys. You know, if I wasn't driving, I would have taken some more notes and probably had some more thoughts for you. So I will do a follow up, maybe episode number 2 of my time in Tennessee. But I had a great time. I'll talk more about future plans and future places coming up. But for now, that's it for me, guys. So stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.